Good afternoon. You are tuning in to the Board of County Commissioners. Today is Tuesday, January 18th, 2022. It is 2 o'clock. My name is Carolina Mejia. I am chair of the board. I am joined by Vice Chair Ty Menser, who's joining us via Zoom. Commissioner Gary Edwards to my left. County Manager Ramiro Chavez joining us on Zoom. To my right is Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell and the clerk of the board. On Zoom, we are joined by many staff and many public who are wishing to make public comment today. So with that, we'll move to the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Menser.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Would you like to do a land acknowledgement?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. We would like to start today with the land acknowledgement and acknowledge the Indigenous Salish peoples who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. With that, we'll move to the approval of the Tuesday, January 18th, 2022 agenda. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I believe that there was potentially a suggestion to remove item 4A. This County Manager, may I ask for your input here? Just to kind of get in terms of why we didn't have an agenda setting this morning and why we might need to make an amendment to the agenda.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you, Commissioner Menser. We couldn't have an agenda setting this morning, and one of the key items this morning was to review the agenda this afternoon, which included revisions to the proposed ordinance related to the home fund. And I believe on your agenda is item 5A, is 4A. My suggestion at this point for Commissioner Menser, with your concurrence, for you to introduce a motion to delay this item until next week. So as a result, remove this item for consideration this afternoon. I don't think I'm ready to walk you through the changes on the ordinance this afternoon. And I have already scheduled a follow-up meeting this Thursday where this will be the topic of discussion among the many others. Thank you.
I would just add that I reviewed this. We got the first draft of this last Tuesday and I reviewed it, and then I had a chance to discuss it with the county manager Friday, and I had several revisions which are here in the red line, but there's also, the board didn't get I was anticipating the board would get a chance to discuss those amongst ourselves this morning, which did not occur. So, is there, I guess I would make a motion to remove item 4A and have it placed on next week's agenda and have it reviewed at the Thursday morning agenda setting that we're going to be doing.
Is there a second?
Yes, I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to remove item 4A and move it to next week's agenda. With that, I'll call for, is there any discussion?
That's what I was going to ask.
I apologize.
May I?
Sir.
Okay. I don't want to, let's see, I've made it pretty clear that I'm not in favor of this. I've always been in favor of the citizens having the right to vote on this rather than it being imposed councilmatically. And I would just like to comment because it is up for discussion. And I would just like to point out that over the past 10 years, we've spent about $50 million dealing with this homeless problem. And the problem has continued to get worse, much worse. And now, over the next 10 years, we're contemplating spending another $50 million through this tax towards a solution that really has not been laid out. And the public has not had any input into how this ordinance should be utilized, the money raised from this ordinance should be utilized. And then I really think this is a bad time. Interest rates are going to probably triple. The inflation rate is skyrocketing. Everybody's paycheck is worth so much less. And so I just don't think it's the right time for the Thurston County Commission to approve this very regressive tax that is more detrimental to those that make a minimal amount than it is to those of us that make more. And so I just want to take this opportunity to voice my dissent, I guess. Every chance I get, I want to recognize the democratic process, but I do want to let the public know that I just think it's the wrong way to go. So thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any discussion, Commissioner Menser?
No.
With that, I'll call the vote to move this to our agenda next week.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, so with that, we will be discussing this item at agenda setting, and then later on at the 2 o'clock BoCC meeting.
Madam Chair, I would make a motion to approve the agenda for Tuesday, January 18, 2022 as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you. Okay, now on to the approval of the board meeting minutes from January 11th, 2022. Do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move to approve board meeting minutes from January 11, 2022.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Okay, with that, we are moving on to presentations. And the first one is a proclamation for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And I'll pass this on to our county manager, Ramiro Chavez.
Thank you again, Commissioners, and good afternoon again. For your consideration today is to proclaim Monday, January 17th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in Thurston County. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929. He devoted his life to advancing equity, social justice, and human rights, and began the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And that work continues. Before I pass this to staff, I'd like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And it states as follows: "There comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular. But he must take it because his conscience tells him it is right." So with that in mind, I will pass it on to Nicole Miller. She has some guests this afternoon that she will like to introduce you. Thank you, Commissioners.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Nicole Miller, the Racial Equity Program Manager here. And I have, since I started, I have established a county-wide racial equity action team, and I invited those members to the meeting. And I do believe that I'm looking at the screen, and I believe that Doug Ma is present. And so he is our consultant for this team. And so I just wanted to turn it over to him if he wanted to say anything today, and just thank him for being here.
Thank you, Nicole. Just want to encourage the board to pass the resolution. I think it's very timely and appropriate. And of course, the words of Dr. Martin Luther King just resonate so strongly today, almost 60 years after the I Had a Dream speech, or Have a Dream speech. But again, it's important and meaningful passage of this resolution. I think it means a lot to the citizens of Thurston County, as well as the county employees. So thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. I think that's all that we have today.
Thank you, Nicole. Any comments, Commissioner Edwards?
No, I'm looking forward to the Vice Chair giving us a proclamation. Thank you.
Vice Chair Menser?
Yes, thank you. First, I don't know that I was given a copy of the proclamation. If somebody could run that in, that would be good. This is an important day, and as I watched television this weekend, there was a lot of attention to this holiday and this day, and images, snippets of speeches, very powerful images, kind of reminding me of some of the big moments, powerful moments of Dr. King's life. And it's pretty incredible to watch, sitting where we sit today, and to watching not too long ago, peaceful marches for the rights of children to go to school, the violence that created, and the speeches, filling the Capitol Mall. I mean, not the Capitol Mall, the Washington, National Capitol Mall. Thank you. Got the words. Anyway, very powerful, very important to remember, and remember that history is not that long ago, and we still have a lot of work to do. So, Madam Chair, if you're ready, I could read the proclamation.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, Thurston County Proclamation, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Whereas Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., born January 15, 1929, devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, and human rights, and began the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And whereas Reverend Dr. King embraced the practice of nonviolent civil disobedience, but was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, and Martin Luther King Jr. Day was signed into law in 1983, then first observed in 1986. And whereas Reverend Dr. King himself proclaimed, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." And whereas the Reverend Dr. King's message, which evolved over time from voting, desegregation, to labor rights and peace for all, is still viable today. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners continues its tradition of observance of Dr. King's teachings, and whereas the Board of County Commissioners encourages all people to join in a rededication to the principles of equality and justice for all. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of Thurston County Commissioners, in observance of the federal holiday, hereby proclaims Monday, January 17, 2022 as Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Thurston County, and encourages all citizens to join in the recognition. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners further encourage citizens to follow Dr. King's mission of service to others by participating in projects that will benefit the community, adopted this 18th day of January 2022 by the board.
Thank you.
I'll sign off.
Okay. Thank you for that proclamation, Commissioner Menser. With that, we'll move on to our Public Works presentation. Introduction of new Public Works employees, and Jennifer Walker, our Director of Public Works, is here with us over Zoom. Jennifer, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. I actually have 6 total, but 3 that are with us today. So I'm going to introduce the 3 that are here. Ryan Ashley. Ryan is an assistant maintenance technician in our traffic unit. He has over 20 years of experience striping roads, installing signs, and maintaining other traffic control devices in Lewis County. He is a diehard Cougars, Seahawks, and Mariners fan. So welcome, Ryan. And we have Virginia Wilford. Virginia is an accounting assistant 2, providing customer service to over 800 of our water and sewer utility customers. After living north for 10 years, she moved back down to Lewis County to pursue her accounting degree at Centralia College. She most recently worked as the office manager for RG Crushing. And right now she's spending most of her time trying to keep track of her 2 healer puppies, Rexy and Rowdy. So welcome, Virginia. And rounding out this fabulous group is Stacy Shepard. Stacy is an accounting assistant 3, providing financial support to roads and transportation. Stacy's lived in Thurston County for more than 40 years. She has 18 years of experience in grants and project accounting. And she is a former women's roller derby player and enjoys refinishing and upscaling vintage furniture. And it looks like I see Rachel has joined us. So let me introduce Rachel. Rachel is a right-of-way agent 1 in our real estate services group, leading our property management program there. She's originally from Puyallup and moved to Thurston County in 2013. Before coming to work for the county, she was a full-time real estate broker. And if she could get buy-in from her husband, Rachel would adopt every dog that she had space to house. So with that, welcome all of you to Thurston County.
Thank you and welcome. Commissioner
Thank you.
Edwards?
No, I think they've come to work for the best county organization, and remember that we're a team. Every one of you play an integral part in that team. So let's always try to do it right. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Menser?
To say welcome to everybody, and we know that you have options out there right now, so we're very excited that you chose to come to Thurston County, and we think you will be happy with your choice. We appreciate you.
Yes, I second what my seatmates have said. Welcome, and our doors are always open. Even though right now you can always email or Zoom us, or we do Teams, but it's exciting that you have joined the county. Okay, with that, thank you very much, Jennifer. Thank you to the new employees. We're going to move on to the opportunity for the public to address the board. So the Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that most meetings are televised. Okay. Before that, I'll go over some general speaking guidelines. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board does not respond to public comments. On a need basis, the county manager will follow up with specific items. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. The board reserves the right to restrict a person's opportunity to address the meeting for good cause. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon the request pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 42.56 RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal. Thank you so much for your cooperation. I cannot see all the names on the Zoom right now, so I'll hand it off to our county manager, Ramiro Chavez, to call out the names.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me go around the Zoom screen. I'll call you on the order that I see your name. First on my screen, I have Mr. John Pettit. Go ahead, sir.
Good afternoon.
One second, Mr. Pettit. Okay, I will let you know once we're approaching the end of those 4 minutes.
Okay.
If you'll go ahead now.
Okay, thank you. My name is John Pettit. I live at off Rich Road in East Olympia. Today, I'm actually going to be making a comment about something that I see a lot of, and that has to do with what's referred to as executive sessions. You have several executive sessions scheduled for tomorrow, and the one in particular, which I would be questioning a little bit, is it's noted an executive session, and it says to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency litigation or potential litigation, OPMA and BoCC meetings and minutes. Commissioner action may follow. Well, I'm going to be perfectly candid with this. Executive sessions are not a place to hide discussion. The question I would have, because clearly I'm not aware of it, but I don't believe that the county is in fact a party that would be subject to litigation regarding the OMPA. I kind of threw a couple of questions together. I says, is the county subject to fines from the OPMA? Or are the elected subject to fines? Well, it's the elected. The county's not. So therefore, the next question is the executive session for protection of the county, who is not subject to being fined, or the personal elected officials who may be subject to being fined. The process of providing legal information to private citizens, people that are not part of the county themselves, but they may be an elected official subject to the laws, is inappropriate. You have to face the consequences of choosing not to follow the law, but that doesn't mean the county is subject to it. And I think it's wrong to use county resources for the personal benefit and direction of the commissioners. And I say that adding into this is that there is nothing in the OPMA that involves direct action against the county. So perhaps somebody can inform me where that action would go. And as such, since everything has to do with direct personal liability related to violations, I think it becomes a public gifting, a gifting of the resources of the county by providing legal advice. I'm not aware that the county actually provides opportunity for any citizen to walk in and get legal advice pertaining to perhaps a traffic ticket or some other offense that might be created. So I'm going to suggest that we be very careful in the use of executive sessions. It's been, in my opinion, a means to circumvent and hide more information from the public. All I ever ask for all of you to do is to follow the law. The Open Public Meeting Act is all about giving guidelines and violation penalties for not following the law. It really doesn't have anything directly to do with your position as a commissioner, and the county itself is not held liable for your actions. You are. So consider it. Perhaps you shouldn't be having an executive session. Let's put it out in front of the people. If there's a problem, let's put it out in front. I know my 4 minutes just finished. Thank you very much. And I'll look forward to hearing back. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Doug Carmen.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Doug Carmen, reside at 4108 Cairo Road. As you also know, I'm the chair of the Long Lake Management District. And also, as you are aware, the members of the Long Lake Management District are very concerned over the code violations witnessed in the use of road grinding waste to pave the county fairgrounds lower parking lot. On September 14th, 2021, I testified in front of you with all of the details and concerns over the lack of permits and potential for the pollution of the aquifer, which would impact water quality in our wells as well as the surrounding lakes. I followed up with you at your regular meeting on October 12th, 2021, and was told by the county manager that a reply was being prepared. Then later in that meeting, the county manager updated you, the commissioners, and told you that he would not be providing a response until the dispute is resolved with the city of Lacey over the same code violations the county made on their property. It is now January 18, 2022, 19 weeks or 4+ months since I brought this issue to your attention. 4+ months of rainfall washing the pollutants out of the fine grindings. 4 months plus of stormwater drainage into, into the natural low spot on the property, concentrating the pollution to drain into the aquifer. 4+ months and no response to the Long Lake Management District concerns and complaints. I have only received 2 emails from Mr. Cummings saying that they were still working on the city of Lacey on the resolution of the violations on their property. We now have another problem. Next Tuesday, January 25th, is the Long Lake Management District's annual member meeting. What should I tell our 2,600 members about the county's response to our concerns over the last 4 months? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Tony Wilson. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I won't have anything to say today, Mr. Chavez. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Joel Hansen. I don't know if you would like to provide testimony this afternoon. Go ahead.
Thank you. I don't have any testimony for today. Thank you.
Next, I have Mr. Dogma. Dogma, any additional comments?
No additional comments from me. Thank you.
Next, I have Mr. Paul Knox. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I'm mostly observing, but I want to thank the commissioners for considering the home fund ordinance today, and I hope you pass it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Ms. Christina Janis.
Good afternoon. I'll make this brief. I just, pertaining to item 4B, it's good to see the climate mitigation budget talk starting. So I just want to reiterate, as I've mentioned twice in previous meetings last year, the Thurston County Real Estate Association would like to be part of the discussion as this progresses. We look forward to working with everyone. And I know there's a climate advisory group starting. We would also love to be at the table in that group as well. And sorry, I forgot to tell you where I lived. Christina Janis. I live off Ellison Loop in the northwest section of the county. So got ahead of myself there. So anyways, hope you guys have a great day. Talk soon.
Thank you. I believe the rest of the names that I have on the screen are county staff, but if not, please raise your hand and I will introduce you. I think that will cover, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay, with that,
Chair, before you move on, could I say one thing?
go ahead, sir.
You know, this is a time to recognize Martin Luther King. And you've heard me say this many times, and this is my favorite saying, and I think it's applicable to the concerns that we hear sometimes from citizens. But Martin Luther King's saying that I think is one of his best is the time is always right to do what is right. And I think it says it all. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to county manager's update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me follow up with Mr. Carmen's comments related to the fairgrounds and the materials. And in fact, we're still waiting for the response from the city of Lacey. We submitted all the documentation, I believe in late December. They require a lot of documentation from the county. We have met all the requirements. We have paid the fee for them to start reviewing that. The application. So we're waiting for their response because that is going to be pivotal as to how we're going to be providing the response to Mr. Doug Carmen. And I apologize for the delay. And unfortunately, we're dealing with also with the City of Lacey's review, and we're working with them to expedite that review as well. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Menser?
No.
Okay. With that, we'll move on to item 3, consent items A through G. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
if I may, please.
Go ahead, County Manager.
Considering the board didn't have the opportunity to review the items on the consent agenda, I know that you reviewed those items last week. Just for the benefit of the public, I would just like to walk through the items you may be considering under your consent agenda. Will that be okay?
Go ahead.
And I will do that very quickly, if I may. First item on your consent agenda is for you to consider establishing the Thurston County Accessible Communities Advisory Committee, and that is in coordination with the auditor's office here in the county. Item 3B is for your consideration is to approve temporary positions related to dealing with the court backlog. That is something that I have been working with the Law and Justice Partners, and this is the beginning of the process to how we need to address the backlog as related to the COVID-19 emergency. This item includes the creation of one clerk judicial proceedings specialist, 2 defense attorneys, number 2, and 1 program manager for Superior Court. The next item on the agenda for your consideration also is the is the resolution to abolish a revolving fund in the Public Health and Social Services Department. This particular fund is used to pay the environmental health septic rebate program, and we are finding a more sustainable way to pay under those programs. We're going to be using the accounts payable process as opposed to this revolving fund. So as a result, we don't need this fund. Item 3D is for you to consider appointing Ms. Helen Woodley to the Planning Commission as a District 1 representative, and her appointment will be, if approved, from January 18, 2022 to October 31st, 2023. Item 3E is also for your consideration to appoint Mr. Barry Halverson to the Planning Commission as a District 2 representative for the term of January 18, 2022 to January 18, 2028. Item 3F is for you to consider appointing Mr. Joel Hansen to the Planning Commission as a District 3 representative, and his term will be from January 18, 2022 to December 31st, 2024. And the last item on your consent agenda is for you to approve the voucher list from the auditor's office, which is for the week for January 13, 2022. It has a combined amount of $1,138,845.66. And that will cover all the consent items. Thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner Menser, we'll start with you.
No, I'm good on these items.
Okay. Commissioner Edwards has stepped away.
I'll make a motion to approve consent items 3A through 3G.
I'll second. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on. Any discussion?
No.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Abstain. Excused.
Commissioner Menser,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay, there's Commissioner Edwards. We just did the vote for the consent item. Okay. Okay, so Commissioner Edwards will be an aye. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards. Okay, with that, we'll move on to department items, and item now 4A, amendment to interlocal agreement for the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. County Manager, I'll hand it to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For your consideration is to approve amendment number 3 to the interlocal agreement between Thurston County, cities of Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater, and the Thurston Regional Planning Council for the implementation of Phase 4 of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. The purpose of this agreement is to support regionally coordinated implementation of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan and achieve the following goals: to maintain momentum for local climate action, to develop efficient regional solutions to reduce sources of greenhouse gases in ways that support all partners and jurisdictions, to provide accountability on progress towards achieving regional climate targets, and to build public awareness of and on engagement in climate mitigation activities across the region. This has been an effort. The Thurston County has participated with the partners here in the region. The Board of County Commissioners approved the Thurston County Mitigation Plan, and this is the next step to continue the implementation of this program. The cost associated with this participation is $60,662, and that is evenly assigned to each of the 4 participant jurisdictions. So each jurisdiction, as I mentioned before, will participate again with $60,662. And this amount has been included on the 2022-2023 biennial budget. Any questions?
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
I don't believe I have any questions. I do think I'll have maybe a comment when it comes to discussion, please.
Okay. Commissioner Menzer, questions?
No, same.
Okay. With that, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve amendment number 3 to the interlocal agreement between Thurston County, City of Lacey, City of Olympia, City of Tumwater, and Thurston Regional Planning Council for implementation of Phase 4 of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan for a total cost of $60,662, and authorize the county manager to sign the amendment and any subsequent amendments that do not change the amount by no more than 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes. I would just like to remind folks that we want to do our part, but the reality is this is a global issue, and we really need to see some action if we're going to get anything accomplished. I think we've got about 30 coal-fired plants here in the United States. I believe there is one coal-fired plant that comes online every day in the other side of the world, in Russia, India, China, and Pakistan. And until we take into consideration what's going on around the world, I think we're spinning our wheels, although I want to continue planning for the day that we can make a difference. Thank you.
Any discussion, Commissioner Menzer?
I just wanted to maybe add an explanatory comment for the public that the process, Phase 2 resulted in the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. Phase 3 was a 1-year bridge, which we're at the tail end of right now. It lasts until the spring, where we have been working on a longer-term governance agreement for implementation actions for the plan. And then this agreement basically kicks off Phase 4. It's a 3-year agreement. We debated having it 5. I actually favored having it to be 5 years, but the group agreed on a 3-year agreement. Not that we think, the work will be done, but that's what we're committing to under this amended agreement, interlocal agreement. And so when you hear about Phase 4, what we're talking about is the long-term implementation of the Thurston Climate Mitigation Plan. So hopefully that helps people understand what we're doing here today.
Okay. With that, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Now we're going to move on to information technology. Item 5A, storage area network system replacement. And I see our director, Dennis Osorio. I'll pass it to you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dennis Osorio, IT Director. I'll just give you some background on what this is. The storage area network is a critical infrastructure system that provides all of our enterprise data and storage, which includes user files, shared files, and common files countywide. The cohesity backup is what we use to back up all of that storage in case of a disaster or just needing to recover the data. Some background on the storage. The county initially purchased and installed the current storage in 2012, which has exceeded its scheduled life cycle. It's also reached its storage capacity and is overdue for some, is no longer supported and overdue for some patches. The current cost that we're asking for the new storage is $130,500.80. And the expansion of the cohesity backup storage is $100,757.10. Both of these pieces of infrastructure will be purchased off the state contracts using a NASPO contract. And will also provide numerous security layers for the county, to including at-rest encryption, as well as some ransomware protections and allow for new security vulnerabilities to be patched into the future. With that, here to answer any questions.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, sir. Dennis, I understand there's no such thing as 100% protection from, say, a hacking situation that might occur. But by making this investment, we are reducing our exposure to that problem. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. As I've stated before, security is a layered approach, and this is just one layer of it. But obviously being on supported infrastructure is critical for security, but as well as encryption at rest and some of the ransomware protections that our backup system will allow us to have will also add to that.
Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menser?
Dennis, I remember asking, and I believe the answer was this came in quite a bit under what we projected and budgeted for last fall. Am I remembering that correctly?
That is accurate, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
And just for clarification, Dennis, this is kind of a phase one approach?
That is correct. We will be looking at a cloud strategy into the future, but as we know, it takes some time to do that, and we will need to address this right now since we're at end of life with our current hardware. So in the future, sometime hopefully within the first quarter, I'll be bringing a cloud strategy back to the board, which will somewhat layer out the phases on how we're going to be moving stuff to the cloud and what we will be leveraging with that technology.
Okay, thank you. With that, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the purchase of Netapp as Thurston County's enterprise storage area network system for the amount of $130,500.80 and cohesity backup storage for the amount of $100,757.10, and authorize the Director of Information Technology to execute the purchase.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
As our clerk calls for the vote, because technology is really not in my wheelhouse, I have kind of deferred to the chair's expertise in this particular matter. Is there any chance I could vote last on this?
I don't mind. That's okay with me. Commissioner Menser, any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Menser,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye.
Commissioner Edwards.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes. Okay, with that, we'll move on to our next item, Public Health and Social Services, item 6A. And it's Local Solid Waste Financial Assistant Agreement with the Department of Ecology. And I see Chris Hawkins up on our screen. Chris, I'll go ahead and pass this to you.
Yes, good afternoon, Commissioners. Chris Hawkins, Program Manager on Education and Prevention with Thurston County Public Health and Social Services. Pardon my voice. I'm here to give a little information about this particular agreement with Department of Ecology that would provide funding to our department to continue to offer household and public education, which is part of implementing the Thurston County Hazardous Waste Management Plan. Our department does a variety of activities. This funding would support our continued effort on community workshops that help people understand better, safer practices and how to choose and use safer, healthier products around their homes, particularly for gardening and yard work, but also some indoor products, because we have a lot of products out there that are hazardous or contain hazardous materials. And we're trying to make sure that people are able to choose and use better, safer products for their long-term health and the long-term health of our community and our community environment. We also do an effort with transitional housing partners, where we provide education through them to residents in that transitional housing in our community that helps them with those indoor cleaning needs that we have in our households, and again helps to help guide people towards those safer products and practices that reduce the use of household hazardous materials. And then we also do a training with childcares through this funding. And that, again, helps those childcare providers that serve the youngest and most vulnerable in our community with safer practices for their cleaning that result in a healthier environment for those young developing bodies and the families. And so this is what we're proposing to the Department of Ecology. They're offering us this contract for $293,585 total costs, and the Ecology funds 75% of that, with 25% matched by our local department tipping fees from Thurston County Solid Waste. We coordinate this effort with Solid Waste. So as we discussed in reviewing this last week, the county manager pointed out that this is complementary to the operations that Public Works Solid Waste makes to provide a safe option for disposal of hazardous household products through Hazo House. So this is very much in line with and complementary to those efforts of Public Works and others in our department that work on environmental health cleanup and dealing with solid and hazardous waste in the community. So we're eager to get moving with this project and hope that you'll support it.
Thank you, Chris. Okay, questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Questions, Commissioner Munster?
No.
Okay.
County manager has it.
Oh, County Manager, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Mason, for your consideration to add the word interim on the motion before Public Health and Social Services Department, please.
I didn't understand what was just said.
It doesn't say director, it just says department. You still want me to say, do you want me to say interim department director?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I think there is not really a body labeled as Public Health and Social Services Department.
I got you.
Thank you, sir.
You ready for a motion, Madam Chair?
Did you understand, Commissioner Edwards? Okay. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I move to approve the Department of Ecology Solid Waste Management Local Solid Waste Financial Assistance Agreement, number SWMLSWFA-2021. I'm not going to do all the military stuff like Commissioner Edwards because I don't know all the words. Dash THCOPH-00107 for hazardous waste plan implementation of household and public education for a total eligible cost of $293,585 for the duration of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2023, and authorize the interim Public Health and Social Services Department Director to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Munster,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. On
Thank you,
to,
Commissioners.
thank you, Chris. Okay, on to item 7A with Public Works. And we have quite a few items for Public Works today. Item 7A is project prospectus and local agency agreement for the old Highway 99 at intersections of Sargent Road and 201st Avenue project. And I am sorry, I cannot see who is up there, but I did see a camera turn on.
Kevin Forbes-Kashani with Thurston County Public Works.
Okay, I'll hand this over to you.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. I know Ryan Blazer was scheduled to present, but I will be filling in for his place today. My name is Kevin Forbes-Kashani, an associate civil engineer with Thurston County Public Works. Public Works has been awarded a total of $900,000 in federal funding from a surface transportation block grant for the design and right-of-way acquisition for the Old Highway 99 at intersections of Sargent Road and 201st Avenue project. This project will improve safety and mobility on a key transportation corridor in the Grand Mound community. The existing intersections of Old Highway 99 and Sargent Road, as well as Old Highway 99 and 201st Avenue, have a left turn lane from Old Highway 99 onto Sargent Road and 201st Avenue, with access to Old Highway 99 from Sargent Road and 201st Avenue controlled by a stop sign. The proposed project will install a single lane roundabout at 201st Avenue with restricted access control at Sargent Road. Drivers would be prevented from turning left onto Sargent Road or left from Old Highway 99. Pedestrian and bicyclist mobility and safety will be greatly improved with protected crossings at the roundabout. The Washington State Department of Transportation authorizes the use of the awarded funding in phases, typically design, right-of-way, and construction. And each phase requires execution of agreements or supplements. The first phase for design will authorize the obligation of $400,000 of the federal funds with a 13.5% match for local funds required. Subsequent supplements will obligate the funding for future phases of the project. The local funds required are budgeted in the County Road Fund for 2022. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute a local agency agreement and project prospectus with the WashDOT and subsequent amendments as well as supplements. Please let me know if you have any further questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions?
Madam Chair, I don't have a question, but I would like to make a statement for the public to understand this a little better because it's quite complicated. And we did not have our regular agenda setting session this morning. So I would just like to have the public know that you've heard some pretty complicated issues come in front of the board today. And we've had many discussions in work sessions, and that would be the reason that haven't asked a lot of questions on these very complicated issues. They've been pretty well explained to us. But should you have any questions, you could always go to one of our work sessions and review the tape, I guess is the best way I can put it. YouTube, is that what it is?
Yeah, the YouTube.
Because we do cover these very extensively. That's all. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Menzer?
Commissioner Edwards, your grandkids aren't going to know what you mean when you say tapes. Review the tape. My kids don't understand that. No questions on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Yes, I would move to authorize the Director of Public Works to sign the project prospectus local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation and all subsequent amendments and supplements for the Old Highway 99 at intersections of Sargent Road and 201st Avenue project, CP number 61548.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to item 7B. Kevin, it is you again, and this is a project prospectus and local agency agreement for the Pacific Avenue Southeast Pavement Preservation Project. Go ahead.
Thank you. Commissioners, Public Works has been awarded a total of $2.8 million in federal funding from the National Highway System Asset Management Program for the design and construction of the Pacific Avenue Southeast Pavement Preservation Project. Excuse me. This project will address the pavement surface between City of Lacey limits to Union Mills Road Southeast. The improvements will include the grinding and removal of the top layer of asphalt and replacing with fiber reinforced hot mixed asphalt. Along with the improvements of the road surface, Public Works will be upgrading sidewalks, sidewalk ramps, and driveway ramps along the corridor to meet current American with Disabilities Act standards. Washington State Department of Transportation authorizes the use of the awarding funding in phases, typically design, right-of-way, and construction as stated on the previous. The first phase of design will authorize the obligation of $241,000 of the federal funds with no required local match. Subsequent supplements will obligate funding for future phases of the project. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute a local agency agreement and project prospectus with the WashDOT and subsequent amendments and supplements. If you have any questions, please feel free.
Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, I believe Kevin did a good job explaining that. Thank you.
Commissioner Menzer?
Kevin, you might have said this right at the beginning, but I missed it. Pacific Avenue and what stretches of Pacific Avenue are we talking about?
It's between the Lacey city limits to Union Mills Road, excuse me.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
With that, is there a motion? Oh, County Manager, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, I believe this is 100% grant funded or requires a match.
There's no match required. It's 100% grant funded.
In that case, I do have a comment.
Go ahead.
I would just like to thank Kevin twice for doing that, getting us some funds coming in. It really stretches the county tax dollar. Thank you, sir.
It's a team effort.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to authorize the Director of Public Works to sign the project prospectus and local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation and all subsequent amendments and supplements for the Pacific Avenue Southeast Pavement Preservation Project, CP number 98408.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Item 7C is project prospectus and local agency agreement for the Yelm Highway Southeast Pavement Preservation Project. Kevin, with you, I'll hand it back to you again.
Thank you. Commissioners, Public Works has been awarded a total of $3.1 million in federal funding from the National Highway System Asset Management Program for the design and construction of the Yelm Highway Southeast Pavement Preservation Project. This project will address the pavement surface between Rich Road Southeast to the Lacey city limits. The improvements will include, as similar to the last, the grinding and removal of the top layer of asphalt and replacing with fiber reinforced hot mix asphalt. Along with other improvements of the road surface, Public Works will be upgrading sidewalk ramps, and driveway ramps to meet current Americans with Disabilities Act standards. The first phase for design will authorize the obligation of $244,000 of the federal funds with no required local match yet again. Subsequent supplements will obligate the funding for future phases of the project. This project is in the 2022 Public Works budget. Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute a local agency agreement and project prospectus with the Washington State Department of Transportation and subsequent amendments and supplements. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am.
Commissioner Menzer?
No.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to authorize the Director of Public Works to sign the project prospectus, local agency agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation and all subsequent amendments and supplements for the Yelm Highway Southeast Pavement Preservation Project, CP number 98409.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Hearing none. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. And item 7D, contract award for Pacific Avenue Safety Mid-Block Crossing Project. And Kevin, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you. On November 24th, 2021, a total of 4 bids were received to construct the Pacific Avenue Safety Mid-Block Crossing Project. Bids were received in response to the work advertised in the Olympian and the Daily Journal of Commerce, as well as posted on the Builders Exchange of Washington website. The low bid was received from Barcott Construction, LLC of Chehalis, Washington, with a bid of $564,954.50. The total construction cost of the project, including staff time, is expected to be $677,000. Construction will be funded with $616,725 of federal funding from both the Federal Surface Transportation Program and Federal Highway Safety Improvement Program. The remaining $60,275 is budgeted in the County Road Fund. This project improves pedestrian safety and access for Pacific Avenue between the City of Lacey limits and Union Mills Road. The design involves addition of mid-block crossings at 3 separate locations along Pacific Avenue and other ADA improvements to reduce slopes at and near existing ramps in the vicinity. This project is in the 2022 Public Works budget. We're requesting that the board move to award the contract for the Pacific Avenue Safety Mid-Block Crossing Project to Barcott Construction, LLC of Chehalis, Washington, for the total amount of $564,954.50, and to authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract.
Okay, questions?
No, ma'am.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
No.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
We move to award the contract for the Pacific Avenue Safety Mid-Block Crossing Project, CP 61518, to Barcott Construction, LLC of Chehalis, Washington, for a total amount of $564,954.50, and authorize the Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders due to unforeseen conditions only, not for changes in scope, up to 10% of the contract.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Can't hear the clerk that time.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Menzer. Okay, now on to item 7E. And this is a resolution and call for sealed bids for the culvert supply for fish passage enhancement. And I see Catherine up there. I'll hand this over to you.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Catherine Tran, and I am an associate civil engineer with the county. Today, Public Works is requesting permission from the Board of County Commissioners to call for sealed bids for a contract supply to supply 2 concrete culverts for the following locations: Little Rock Road southwest at Blake River Tributary and Houston Drive northwest at Houston Creek. These projects will remove 2 existing culverts, which are barriers to fish passage. A 40-foot long and 15-foot wide concrete culvert will be installed at Little Rock Road, and a 36-foot long and 12-foot wide concrete culvert will be installed at Houston Drive. Once constructed, fish will have access to more than 3 miles of stream for fish habitat that has been blocked for decades. This action will allow Public Works to contract for the manufacture and delivery of these culverts ahead of the construction contract for their installation in the summer of 2022. The ordering and manufacturing of these fish-friendly structures will save at least 3 months of lead time, allowing for a much more streamlined construction schedule. The estimated cost to manufacture and deliver the 2 new culverts is approximately $240,000. Real estate excise tax funds that have been allocated for the Fish Passage Enhancement Program will be used to purchase the new culverts. This project is in the current 2022 Public Works budget. 2022 to 2027 Transportation Improvement Program and Capital Facilities Plan, and is in alignment with the county's strategic plan. Initiative 8, to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community, and Initiative 9, to support environmental health and climate stabilization. Please let me know if you have any questions.
Okay. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
Yes, I have one question. As this is being looked into, do we solicit bids from others, you know, not only the bid, grants, excuse me, I mean grants. Are we soliciting for grants for these projects to kind of save from our REAP money?
Yes, so we were awarded a total of approximately $45,000 for construction costs from the Salmon Recovery Funding Board, and that's administered through the RCO, Recreation and Conservation Office.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Menzer?
No, nothing.
Okay, with that, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to approve the resolution and call for sealed bids and authorize the county engineer to set the bid date and time for receipt and opening of said bids for the culvert supply for Fish Passage Enhancement 2022, CP 63009 at Little Rock Road Southwest at Black River Tributary, and CP number 63017 at Houston Drive Northwest at Houston Creek.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, with that, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Catherine. On to item 7F. Set a public hearing for application of Scott Lake Maintenance Company for a non-exclusive franchise for a water system. And I see Craig up there. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I am Craig Sisson, the Real Estate Services Manager with Public Works. I apologize for the length of this one, but I am required by law to read the rights of way into public record. So I will begin. RCW 3655-040 requires that a public hearing be held on franchise applications. The Scott Lake Maintenance Company has applied for a non-exclusive franchise to construct, operate, and maintain a water system within Thurston County rights-of-way known as Case Extension Road Southwest, Scott Creek Drive Southwest, Entry View Drive Southwest, Bona Vista Drive Southwest, Sand Trap Court Southwest, 113th Way Southwest, Bogey Street Southwest, Helm Court Southwest, 114th Way Southwest, Bona Vista Court Southwest, Treview Avenue Southwest, 114th Avenue Southwest, Scotlick Drive Southwest, Bonneview Court Southwest, Driver Street Southwest, Vantage Avenue Southwest, Scotlick Court Southwest, Champion Drive Southwest, Shoreview Drive Southwest, Champion Court Southwest, Wood Drive Southwest, 118th Court Southwest, 119th Court Southwest, Blooms Court Southwest, Scott Creek Loop Southwest, Link Court Southwest, Green Court Southwest, Fairway Drive Southwest, Hilltop Court Southwest, 123rd Avenue Southwest, Handicap Court Southwest, Lakeview Court Southwest, Iron Court Southwest, Rough Court Southwest, Vantage Court Southwest, Par Court Southwest, and an unnamed dead end street across from Hilltop Court Southwest. In accordance with RCW 3655-040, notice will be published twice in the official county newspaper and posted in 3 public places in the county seat. The non-exclusive franchise for a water system is consistent with the county's strategic plan and aligns with Initiative 6 to proactively shape a strong, diverse economy that provides equitable access to opportunity. I'm here for any questions.
Thank you. Commissioner Edwards.
Well, I was going to ask Craig to repeat all that, but I think I'll pass on that. No questions. Thank you. Good job, Craig.
Commissioner Menzer.
No, we covered this at last week's work session.
Okay. With that, is there a motion?
Yes, I move to set a public hearing for February 22nd, 2022 at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to consider the application of Scott Lake Maintenance Company for a non-exclusive franchise to construct, operate, and maintain a water system within Thurston County rights-of-way.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, item 7G, set a public hearing for application of Eld Inlet Community Water Association for a non-exclusive franchise for a water system. Craig, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you, commissioners. This one's much shorter. RCW 3655040 requires that a public hearing be held on the franchise applications. The Eld Inlet Community Water Association has applied for a non-exclusive franchise to construct, operate, and maintain a water system within Thurston County rights-of-way known as Young Road Northwest. In accordance with RCW 3655040, notice will be published twice in the official county newspaper and posted in 3 public places in the county seat. The non-exclusive franchise process for a water system is consistent with the county strategic plan and aligns with Initiative 6 to proactively shape a strong, diverse economy that provides equitable access to opportunity.
Okay, any questions?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay, I'll call for the vote, for a motion.
Yes, I move to set a public hearing for February 22nd, 2022, beginning at 3 p.m. or soon thereafter as the matter may be heard, at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to consider the application of the Eld Inlet Community Water Association for a non-exclusive franchise to construct, operate, and maintain a water system within Thurston County rights-of-way.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards,
Aye.
Commissioner Mensah,
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia,
Aye. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig.
Now we'll go to our standing items. Item 8A, commissioners will report on board work sessions and assign committee meetings, providing updates and actions taken, as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, I'll start with you.
Yes, I would report only on one committee assignment because of the content and the length of the discussion, and that was with Thurston Regional Planning Commission. And one of the big things on the legislative agenda that is taking place right now is what to do about the new workforce that is working from home and how that is going to affect the overall leasing of buildings. And I just think it's worth noting that those parking lots all around Olympia are pretty empty that belong to state offices. And some of the private businesses around the state of Washington have either extended or opted for a complete work-at-home process due to the variant that we're facing and maybe potential variants of the future. I just think it's worth noting, so I brought that up. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Mensah?
Yes, things that I was doing besides what the board was doing included a presentation from the Thurston Climate Action Team and the Nisqually tribe regarding some climate-related issues, specifically the I-5 and Nisqually rivers endangering the I-5. That item is interesting. It's on our county's legislative agenda. Another thing I did was have meetings with legislators where we would discuss this. If you have any questions about the power of a river to take out land and roads, my work on the Chehalis River Basin Flood Authority made that really clear, as we have a situation in the lower Satsop River where we already knew it was moving, but with the new flood events we just went through, it took out like 2 acres, more acres of agricultural land, and we're having to completely re-engineer the project. It's going way faster. And so when I hear the Nisqually projections, which was like, oh, maybe in 2050 this is going to be a problem. Now they're like, uh-oh, this might be a problem in 2035, sooner. I believe it because the climate, and it's all tied in. It's all tied back to climate change and more severe weather events, et cetera. Had a chance to attend the Thurston Chamber's State of the Community luncheon, and was honored to be able to give the state of the report from Thurston County on that. Each of the mayors of the major cities reported, and then we took questions from the chamber. We had a meeting, the state coalition. I've been kind of a holdover from my year as chair last year, where I was attending coalition meetings on Governor Gregoire's initiative, Challenge Seattle, a group trying to see if they can convince the legislature and the governor to allocate some of the budget surplus toward emergency, transitional, and permanent supportive housing. And so we have weekly call-ins now. Now that legislature is in session, we're having weekly call-ins about what's going on, where is the action, who do we need to contact? And so there's a lot of energy around that initiative. The jail resources team is something that we do quarterly, I believe, and there was a meeting of that, a very productive meeting last week. And that wraps it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, for me, I don't have much to report on. I guess one of the things I'll mention is from the WASAC Legislative Steering Committee. There was some discussion about some bills that are coming through, and we're getting updated on a weekly basis. And one that caught my attention is House Bill 1845. And that's running a grant program for body cameras. There was a lot of discussion between all of the commissioners wondering if there was going to be any retroactiveness on what we've already invested. I know that we got a portion of the body cameras covered by a grant, but I was hoping that maybe the other part we could get covered. It doesn't seem like that's the case, but in a follow-up conversation, we started asking about, well, can it cover public records costs and data storage? And it seems like it can. So I have asked our county manager to put that on our list to keep a track of, because I feel in the long run that can, it's something that we can qualify for. Other than that, yesterday, I went with my daughter and planted trees with Oli Ecosystems. There were over 400 trees that needed to be planted, but they had a surplus of volunteers. And so we only got to plant one. But it was just great to see, so many community members out there. I ran into our very own Chris Hawkins, who was out there with his family, and that was just a very good event. And with that, I'll move to item 8B. The county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of January 18th, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Starting as soon after this meeting is adjourned, you have a public hearing. And this is related to Development Code docket item CR-5, related to the Places of Worship Code amendment. For your consideration, we have 2 motions. One is to close the public hearing, and depending on the public testimony, for your considerations to approve the ordinance amending the code. Also, this evening at 7 in the evening, you have a virtual joint public hearing with the City of Tumwater Council, and this is related to a proposed annexation within the city of municipal boundaries of the City of Tumwater, and that pretty much taking care of all the islands within their jurisdiction. We have prepared scripts for you, Madam Chair, for this evening. I hope you have a copy of that. If not, we'll make sure we have available to you. Again, that public hearing is hosted mainly by the city of Tumwater, and it will be only virtual. There will not be in-person testimony. Moving on to Wednesday, January 19th, tomorrow, at 9 in the morning, you have an executive session related to the LP Brown code violation, and the conversation will be related to a potential condemnation proceedings. At 10 in the morning, you have a follow-up, another executive session. It is really for you to go through the annual review of the county manager. 12 noon tomorrow, January 19th, you have your regular elected officials meeting, followed by 1 in the afternoon, a briefing by the Northern Thurston School District. At 2 in the afternoon, January 19th, you have a briefing related to speed limits in the county. And at 2:30 in the afternoon, you have an executive session related to OPMA and meeting minutes. Thursday, January 20th, I have a schedule a review of the January 25th agenda from 8 in the morning to 10 in the morning. And I will have that, I believe that agenda has been posted and include a couple of additional items. Should be able to cover those items in 2 hours. Thursday, January 20th at 1 in the afternoon, Commissioner Mincer and Commissioner Edwards will participate in the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Administrative meeting. Nothing on your combined schedule on Friday, January 21st. Nothing on your combined schedule on Monday, January 24th. And the board will convene again on Tuesday, January 25th at 9 in the morning to your regular agenda setting. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are 22 minutes behind for our public hearing. We'll go ahead and take a short break. We will start here at 3:35 with the public hearing. With that, I will adjourn. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, what time you said you will start the meeting?
3:35.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.